Keeping a tenancy. This module covers how to keep your tenancy in your rented accommodation. Many people run into problems when they rent a flat and get into trouble with their landlord or even face eviction. Keeping a roof over your head is vital. So in this module, we will look at your responsibilities as a tenant. You have responsibilities as a private tenant, as well as rights. So what are they? Number 1. Providing documents for a right to rent check. Your landlord has to check you have the right to rent a home. You must provide certain documents to enable them to check you have the right to live in the United Kingdom. A landlord can't rent a property to you if you don't have the right to rent. They will ask you for ID and any other documents you need. If you have any problem getting these, or if you've lost your ID, ask the Citizens Advice Centre for help. Number 2. Pay your rent on time. Rent is usually paid in advance every month or week. You must pay it on time. If you fall behind with the rent, your landlord can take steps to evict you and claim any money you owe them. It's best to pay this first and prioritize it over everything except for food. It's always easier to get help for other expenses than it is to get help to pay rent. It's better to have a roof over our head above any other bill. Number 3. Housing benefit. If you claim housing benefit to pay your rent, you must keep your claim up to date, tell the Housing Benefit Department about any changes in your circumstances, complete any renewal forms they send to you, and return them within the time limits set. Contact the council if your housing benefit is delayed. The council can make an interim payment on your account while your claim is being processed. Number 4. Universal credit. If you claim universal credit to help pay your rent, you must keep your claim up to date. You must report any change in your circumstances. You can report changes through your online account. You can apply for a short-term advance payment while you're waiting for your universal credit claim to be processed, but be aware that you'll have to pay it back, which can be very difficult as the repayments are quite high. You only get a payment if you'll suffer financial hardship without one. Universal credit generally pays your housing allowance straight to you instead of straight to the landlord. It's best to pay your rent first, as many people have fallen behind on their rent as they have to spend it on living costs before prioritizing their rent. 5. Look after your home. Your landlord is responsible for repairs and maintenance of the exterior and the structure of the property, as well as the plumbing, wiring and central heating. They are also responsible for any problems with damp and must keep the property in a livable condition. As a tenant, you must report any repairs needed to your landlord. Make sure your home is well ventilated to help avoid condensation and damp. You can do minor maintenance, such as checking smoke alarms are working and changing light bulbs. Dispose of your rubbish properly. You must not damage internal decorations, furniture and equipment. You have to pay for anything you've broken or damaged. Your landlord must make sure that gas and electrical installations meet safety standards. You must not use unsafe appliances. Ask for permission when it's needed. It's always best to check what your tenancy agreement says about when you need your landlord's permission. You probably need to ask your landlord if you want to take in a lodger, make improvements to the property, run a business from the property. The landlord often has the right to refuse. Your agreement may also say you need permission for keeping a pet, smoking, or parking a caravan on the property. Always put requests to your landlord in writing and keep a copy. Keep copies of any replies. This will cover you if they later say you didn't ask. Number 6. Allow your landlord access. You must give your landlord access to the property if repairs are needed, or to carry out repairs. Your landlord must give you reasonable notice. You have the right to live in your home without unnecessary interference from your landlord. You have the right to stop your landlord coming into your home unless you share your home with them. Harassment by a landlord or someone acting on their behalf may be treated as a criminal offence. Number 7. Take responsibility for behaviour. You should not behave in an antisocial or aggressive way towards your neighbours, landlord, anyone employed by your landlord. If you're the tenant, you'll be held responsible for the antisocial behaviour of anyone who lives with you or visits you. Your landlord can take steps to evict you for antisocial behaviour. Find out more about the eviction of assured short-hold tenants. Number 8. Keep to the rules of your tenancy. If you don't follow the rules of your tenancy, you can be evicted for breach of contract if you break tenancy conditions that say you must not run a business from the property, engage in antisocial behaviour, keep cats or dogs. Most landlords will need to get a court order to evict a tenant. Follow rules on smoking. Unless the tenancy agreement says that your property is non-smoking, you're allowed to smoke and allow visitors to smoke in your home. Smoking is not allowed in any parts of the building that are shared with other tenants. Number 9. Live in your home. You could lose your tenancy if it's no longer your main home, you rent out your home to someone else while you're away, or if you don't pay the rent. Tell your landlord you'll be away from home for any length of time. For example, if you're going into hospital, into prison, or are caring for someone else who lives there. You must keep paying the rent while you're away. Number 10. End your tenancy properly. You must end your tenancy properly if you want to move out. If you don't end it, you will still be liable for rent. This applies even if you are no longer living there. It's possible to end your tenancy immediately, but only if the landlord agrees to this. Get their acceptance in writing. You can't give notice if you're still in the fixed term of tenancy, unless your tenancy agreement says you can. So in summary, to be able to keep your rented accommodation, you must first familiarise yourself with the tenancy agreement rules that you sign up to. Know the rules and stick to them. If you lose your tenancy or fall out with your landlord, it can make it difficult to rent a new place, as many landlords ask for a reference from your last landlord. If you're not getting on with your landlord, or they are not fair, then find a new place. But make sure you leave the one you're in properly so there's no problems.